welcome back to the Coffee and Ketchup podcast. I'm your number one host, Megan, and here's your number two host.
Evangeline Scoff, Orzon, whatever. I'm only number two sometimes, okay? Sometimes
I didn't mean one or two, as in which one of us is like first class or second class. I meant just, I don't know. My voice sounds weird to me. I was laughing for 10 minutes straight trying to do this intro. Shut up.
We're just going with it. No, I knew what you meant. But sometimes I'm the leader, okay? Just today it's you. We're all number one here.
Yeah.
Anyway, today, what are we discussing, Megan? What are we doing?
Yes, we are discussing childhood TV shows, as we mentioned in our previous episode, on our favorite anime shows, which you should go watch or listen to if you have not watched or listened to it.
Do that. I'm assuming we're going to exclude anime that we watched as children because there's an entire episode on that already.
Yep, which leaves me with very little option.
No,
luckily for me, though, you classed Avatar as not an anime, so I got that in my wheelhouse.
Yes, if it's not Japanese, it's not an anime. People are going to fight us now.
Oh, wait, shit, I don't have Pokemon then. God damn it, you've taken everything from me.
I've taken your whole life, your whole childhood from you. It's okay, my parents took mine. Now we're even.
Love it. Great.
What a fantastic start to today's episode.
Yep.
Well,
Joyous mood. Joyous.
What kind of coffee have you got today?
I have a weird concoction I've come up with, which is one of those sachets of cappuccino powder that you can get really cheap and like little for an 8-pack, with a few scoops of hot chocolate and then hot milk.
Oh my!
It's great.
That sounds amazing. I want some of that.
I think it's got a little too much lactose in it though, because it's making me very coffee and throaty. Which is not great for a podcast.
No, it's not, but that's fine. I ate chocolate before we did this, so it's just going to be a very kind of episode. But
we apologize for the coughs in advance. I will try and mute myself, as Eva taught me how to do last time, way too late.
Yeah, well, I always do it. I never thought to say, hey, you should do this thing, because whenever I need to cough or move or shuffle, I mute my mic. Not all the time, but like most of the time, except for last episode when I got confused and I needed to cough, so I muted the mic and then I unmuted it and then I coughed.
At least you haven't left yourself muted at any point when you should have been talking.
See, professional. Look how good I am.
Hey.
It's not like I do that in every single live stream that I do ever.
I saw you went live the other week and didn't have to do it twice, and I was very proud of you.
Thank you. Oh my god, I was proud of me too. Before we actually start talking about TV shows, I have an idea. Something we could do at some point. If people want to see it. We could do, towards the end of the season of the podcast, we could do a live version.
Yes, live version.
I think that would be fun.
Taking questions or something, I don't know.
So if you're watching this on YouTube...
Last time I did a live, there was 7 people, so don't know how lives work. Also, it got taken down for inappropriate content, even though we were live streaming the same thing at the same time.
Wait, this is when we... Oh, yeah.
YouTube.
I think what happened was it was like, this is copyright, this is not yours.
It wasn't copyright, because I double-checked it, and it said it was taken down for inappropriate content, not because it was copyright. And I was like, bitch!
What was it?
Please, I had 7 people. Eva had like 100 people. What?
What was inappropriate, though? We were taking personality tests or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous. YouTube is ridiculous sometimes. But like, YouTube, please push our content. Thank you. You're not ridiculous. We love you. Mwah. So
yeah, we only got like 46 views on the last podcast episode. So what the fuck, YouTube?
Yeah, YouTube. How could you? So rude.
I noticed our views consistently go down with each episode and not up. Fuck you, YouTube.
We need to talk about something extremely controversial. One of us needs to say something terrible, and that's how we'll get them views. It works for Trisha Paytas, so it should work for us, right?
Yeah, totally. We're on the same level as Trisha.
What would be really controversial? Talking about whether Naruto is an anime. So really, we should have gotten more views
Wait,
on that one.
whether Naruto is an anime? I would think the conversation is more whether Pokemon
Oh
is an anime.
god, sorry, not Naruto. I meant Avatar. Oh my
Avatar?
god,
That makes
crucify
me
me
more
now.
sense.
Just
Naruto is an anime. Yeah, what?
Naruto's definitely not anime. Oh dear. Well, should we move off the anime topic and actually talk about shows in general?
Yes, but first, what are you drinking?
Oh yeah, I forgot. I have a hazelnut mocha today. I thought since you're usually drinking something chocolatey, I would join you today.
That
But
sounds amazing.
yeah, I've used this cup for 2 other coffees and I just rinsed it, so it's not looking great, but that's fine.
I do that all the time.
I mean, like today, not on several days. Like this hasn't been out for 3 days. It's just been out since this morning.
Okay. On the topic of coffee, I saw this thing. There's this cafe that I think a lot of European countries have it. We just don't have it here in Ireland. But in the UK, they have a subscription service where for £20 a month, you can get unlimited coffee all month, up to 5 coffees a day for the whole month. And the first month of subscription is free. So you be damn sure I'm getting a month of free coffee when I go to the UK, bruh.
That's amazing. What is
It's not even the coffee, it's like all the drinks. It's like the smoothies, the frappes. I'm so excited.
How much
Free
did you
coffee.
say it was again?
£20 a month.
20.
Which,
That's
sorry.
ridiculously cheap.
Yeah, because what I was thinking of doing is using my like free month subscription. Like, I'm probably going to use it to the max because it's free, but I'm going to try and keep track of how often I would have legitimately gone to the cafe, besides having a free thing. Like, usually if I go to study at a cafe, I'll order one coffee, even if I'm there for a few hours. So, if I have this thing, I'm logically going to order a few drinks because I get them for free. But I'm probably only going to mark down like one because that's what I would usually get. And then at the end of the month, I'm going to tot it all up and see if it's, because like if the place is kind of far away from where I live, then maybe I wouldn't go as often, and it's not worth the £20 a month. But I'm gonna see what it's like, and then I might keep it up. I don't know.
But you can also like try all their different drinks, like try their smoothies and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I kind of want to do because they have like loads of options of things that like I've seen in Starbucks and stuff, but I don't want to risk wasting my money on something I don't like, especially at Starbucks prices. Starbucks, you suck.
Fuck Starbucks, but please like sponsor us or something.
Yeah.
I don't think Starbucks. Am I saying that wrong?
No, you're saying it right. I think we've just said it too much for it to be a word anymore.
Say it again.
Starbucks.
Why does that not? I swear to God, I'm in one of those like, not Dalai Lama. What's it called? Mandala effects.
Dalai Lama effects. What? Even?
Because there was a Mandela effect about the Dalai Lama. That's where I'm getting confused. I think I'm having a Mandela effect. Mandela or Mandala? Oh my God. Mandela effect. About the word Starbucks, because I feel like I was just in some alternate reality where it was called something completely different. I'm not joking. Like, I'm really confused. Am I on drugs? I hope not. Oh dear. Anyway, let's move on from drugs and Starbucks.
Off topic.
Yes.
Yep.
And we haven't actually named any shows. So do you want to actually talk about one that we shared as a collective? There's fireworks going out outside. That was that big bang. I apologize.
I thought it was your cat suicide jumping off your wardrobe again.
Yeah, my cat just went down. Yes, a show that we shared, which was Charmed.
Oh my God, yes! I was thinking earlier, I was like, what kid shows did I watch as a kid? But Charmed! I effing love Charmed. The original, not the reboot. The reboot shite. No offense to the reboot.
I heard it's terrible.
Okay, I haven't watched the second season, and I watched the first season like ages ago, so I can't fully remember. But I don't think it was too terrible. It's just that it's not Charmed. It's 3 sisters that are witches. That's the only similarity.
Yeah.
Like they stole like not stole, but like they used like white lighters and elders and stuff. They killed them all off. Spoiler alert! They killed them all off after like the first season. They're now like the only white lighter left is their white lighter. Also, he's not Leo. His name is Harry.
Harry.
All the girls have different. They all have different names. No one's got the same name. They've all got M names, not P names. There's no P3, the club. There's no club at all. I'm very upset. Off topic.
No, I'm
very
not.
upset.
I just heard that it's bad, and I didn't intend on watching it. I wanted to rewatch the original, but like I have so many good memories of watching that, and like us watching it together and separately. Do you remember our spell book, our witch book?
I don't remember what it looked like, but I do vaguely remember that we used to like make up spells and stuff, and we had like a potion that had lumps of carrots in it. The only ingredient I remember was lumps of carrots.
Was the lumps of carrots not our Chinese tea though, or was there a potion with? That wasn't a potion. That was a delightful treat.
Yeah, that was it.
But we
I don't know, they were happening at the same time.
Yeah. No, we used to make potions, but I think we put chocolate in some of them or something ridiculous. There was always salt as well, because we even, as little 5-year-old children, yes, we were 5 and 6 and 4 possibly around this time, we knew that spells needed salt. We got that down. But it was me, you, and
gotta be
Sky.
salty if you're gonna curse someone. Be salty.
No, because it was me, you, and Sky, so we had the power of 3. And we used to go around and make up our spells. The witch's book, the spell book that we had, we never wrote in it. And I remember this specifically because it was a copy of Little Women.
What? I do not remember.
It was my mum's.
What?
It was a copy of Little Women. I liked the cover of it, so I used to take it with me to go, like, to play at your house or whatever. And that was our spell book. It was Little Women.
Love it. I love it.
I think it was so far beyond our reading comprehension that we just didn't acknowledge that it was an actual book.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
We just saw a pretty cover and we're like, spell book.
I don't think we ever wrote down a single spell, but we definitely did them. And I remember, like, this is so weird, but I remember one time we were playing witches in school, and we'd probably been watching Charmed the day before. And like, I don't remember if you specifically were there, but I remember Sky was there. And I don't know if you remember, like, our school used to have like little drain pipes everywhere, our primary school. So we were like jumping on those and pretending we were going through the pipes and like run into the other pipe and then popping up out of it with magic. It was amazing. And Sky also convinced me that she could make the clouds move.
I do remember that. That was weird. It's weird now, but at the time it was like, oh my god, you could legit do this.
Yeah, but we all fully believed it, and it was probably watching Charmed.
Do you know the way, like, when you put your hands together like this, there is like a cold spot in between sometimes? Like, you know, I don't know why. Probably some physics behind it or something. But we used to do that and pretend that we could, like, control the wind inside, and that's why it was cold, because we were doing this.
I don't remember that at all, but I
remember that.
Oh dear. Well, yeah, so we watched Charmed, and then I watched Buffy as well, but you weren't allowed to watch that, I think you said last time.
Yeah, I still don't understand that. I mentioned that to my mom like about a month ago, and she was like, I have no recollection of this. I was like, you have no recollection of ruining anything in my childhood. Not that not being able to watch Buffy ruined my childhood. In retrospect, probably a sound move. I was probably too young to watch Buffy. Like, the earlier seasons of Buffy are fine. The later seasons of Buffy, especially when she starts hooking up with Spike, not fine for children's eyes.
Yeah, I was just allowed to watch whatever I wanted, but I feel you on that. I do get it. But we did have like other shows that we all collectively watched and then played games of in school. So this seems to be a common theme. I'm pretty sure most kids did this, but we also had Powerpuff Girls was one.
Oh my god, I remember that. See, yeah, this is the thing. It seemed to be shows with like 3 leads because there was 3 of us.
We just needed if there wasn't 3 characters any more, any less, we weren't interested. Had to be 3.
Had to be 3.
But I remember you and Sky would always fight over being Blossom. Or not. Wait, yeah, Blossom. I always wanted to be Buttercup because I was edgy. But I always wanted to be Buttercup. Neither of you wanted it. You wanted Blossom, but you would always end up being Bubbles because you were blonde. That was the whole way we decided.
I got typecast at that blonde kid. This is why I'm no longer... Okay, my hair's blonde at the moment, but that's only because I'm in between dye jobs. But this is why I'm no longer a blonde, because they kept typecasting me as a blonde.
We are the root of your childhood trauma, the reason you dye your hair ginger. But yeah, no, because we used to do that, but then I realized because I started watching the Powerpuff Girls again, just, you
As
just
you
want
do.
to sometimes, yeah. I'm actually Bubbles. I'm not
No,
a Buttercup.
you can't be Bubbles. You're Buttercup. I'm Bubbles.
You don't even want to be Bubbles. No, but the thing is, she's so like, I know you don't, okay. So she's kind of like sweet in a way, but her fucking temper is ridiculous. And that is me. It's like, la 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 la, I will kill you. It's like, that is me. There's one episode where she goes on a rampage, and I remembered watching that when I was a kid as well. She just absolutely loses it. I don't remember over what, but she like almost destroys the town at this point, I think. She's the villain.
Wait, hold on a minute. You think that's you? Do you not remember the time that I ganged up on you and Sky ganged up on me and I went after you with the scissors? I think I'm Blossom.
Oh my god, I had blocked that from my memory. I can't even. The thing is, I know that
I'm
happened,
the
but
destructive one.
I can't envision it. Like, I can't actually remember it, but I know that was a thing that happened.
I feel like I vaguely stabbed the door with the scissors because you were hiding behind it. I feel like my parents would not have let me do that, though, so maybe I just fabricated that memory, but I don't know.
Maybe you threw it out the door and it didn't, like, actually stab the door.
I did throw a hammer at a door once and I broke the glass in our door.
Oh,
I didn't actually throw the hammer at the door. I went like that with the hammer, still holding it, but the top came off and flew through the glass.
You know what?
Like the top of the hammer just went...
Stop throwing things. You know what, though? Your Bubbles, you win your Bubbles.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm so, like, anal about everything these days. I'm probably even Blossom, but we're not going to admit that. So I'm Buttercup. That's just the way it is.
You're edgy. Take it.
So edgy. So cool.
But I feel like Buttercup is now the e-girl. Every e-girl is now Buttercup.
I wanted to try the e-girl thing, but, like, I'm kind of too old for it. You know what I mean? Like, so much effort.
No!
I feel like ancient in my brain. Like, I genuinely feel like I'm about 40. Like, that would be like my sister trying to do the e-girl thing.
I do occasionally get old people vibes of you. Don't know why. But you have, like, wise beyond your years, but also I'm going to die any minute now, so I might as well be batshit crazy kind of vibes going on. It's aged me prematurely.
Yeah. No, it does that. It really does. And I always say that to people, and they're like, wow, you seem really, like, so much older than you are, because people say it a surprising amount. Like, even my therapist, when I first called her to make the appointment, like, I called her on the phone, and then when I went to see her, she was
wow, so mature. I could not.
I know, amazing. No, I have no problem making phone calls because it's customer service. But when I went there, she was like, I thought you were in your 30s. I was like, no.
Lovely. Thanks.
I'm 23.
Love it.
So, I don't know. Yeah, trauma aged me. It's wonderful. Didn't age the skin, though. And my skin is terrible. I don't know what I'm talking about. I forgot the point that I wanted to make. I completely forgot. E-girls.
E-girl.
You know, that's what we could do in another episode, if people wanted, would be exploring subcultures.
Yes.
We have some stories.
I am dark academia / cottagecore all the way.
Definitely one or the other at any given time. Would dark academia /
literally my whole
light academia?
See, yeah, it probably is, like, if you're legit mixing the two, but I think I'm more like taking, like, this aspect of dark academia and this aspect of cottagecore and putting them together. All I know is that my dorm room motif, all the stuff I've collected for my dorm room, another reason why I really hope I'm going over the ferry, because I have stuff I need for my dorm room, is, like, dark academia / cottagecore, which I have dubbed Ancient Mage's Bride alias's library. That is what my subculture is. Alias's library from Ancient Mage's Bride.
I love that. I've actually gone, like, way into the dark academia stuff recently as well. I don't know if you've seen on my Instagram and stuff, like that's my whole thing at the moment.
Yeah,
And that is how I dress now too, just not for the podcast because I'm wearing pajama pants and this hoodie
I
because for
love
these
it.
I like to be comfy. So,
I am wearing pajamas.
yes, pajama time. These are pajama parties with coffee.
Pajama party with coffee. Yeah, my whole Depop haul that I keep saying I'm going to do and then haven't done yet is basically just adding like what I felt were like core pieces that I didn't have in my closet to turn my closet into what it was, into more a dark academia kind of thing.
Mm.
Like I got a real nice brown blazer. Might need some elbow patches though, but I know
Mm.
how to put those in. Good.
Beautiful. I think we should probably cut this now because we're using prime material for the. We could just have a whole episode in dark academia.
But yeah, off
Let's do it.
topic.
Yes.
Back on topic.
Save these
Children's
juicy
TV
bits of
shows.
information and talk about TV shows.
Yeah.
Look at us trying to stay on topic for once in our lives. We also played, and this is because I lied earlier. I said if there wasn't 3 characters in the show, we wouldn't watch it, but that is not true because we also played Power Rangers.
I don't remember this
I remember
at
this.
all.
This was, and I remember, okay, so we played Power Rangers only a few times, and it was in the very early days of school. And then we moved on to play Powerpuff Girls, and then we forgot about Power Rangers, but we did play it.
See, yeah, because I feel like, obviously now when I think back on shows, you know, some of it's got that little, like, sentimentality or, you know, like, nostalgia vibe to it, so it seems better than it was. But then other shows, I look back on them, like Power Rangers, and I'm like, that was crap. That show was crap.
No, I have the
I couldn't
sentimentality
have
of
ever
it.
liked it. But, like, the truth is, you know, the problem, like, there's probably shows that were crap that I look back on and with the nostalgia glasses, and I'm like, no, they're great. But for some reason, Power Rangers is one of the shows that I haven't watched since I was in. But when I think back on it, I'm like, that it's a crap show, mate. But like the truth is, I probably did love it as a kid. It's just now I'm like, this is a crap show.
Yeah, I think I might have been more into it than you were, and that's probably why I remember it as like, this was amazing. I do remember like the effects and stuff being just terrible, like straight up trash. But
I know, but the funny thing is, those effects are still trash now. In the like latest rendition of Power Rangers, they're using the exact same effects as from the 90s.
hold up. Wait a minute. They're still making Power Rangers.
I don't know if they're still making it, but like there's definitely like way like later versions of the Power Rangers. Like early 2010s episodes of the Power Rangers, possibly like mid to late 2010s episodes of the Power Rangers as well. The effects are still as bad as the 90s though, if not worse.
I need to check this out. I need to do this. I'm going to make it my mission, which I'll forget about in about 20 minutes, that I need to do this.
But funnily enough, I'm fairly sure, don't quote me on this, because I think I've only ever seen the latest episodes as like watching over the shoulder while I was babysitting my younger cousins kind of thing, so I haven't fully watched it. But from what I can remember of the glimpses I've seen of the new ones and what I can remember of the old ones, I'm fairly sure they still have the exact same number of like white people, Asian person, black person, and they all still play the same Rangers. You know the way there was like 3 white Rangers, 1 Asian Ranger, and 1 black Ranger, something like that.
Yeah.
And then they just seem to use that exact same layout to this day.
That's very
of Rangers.
Weird. Bit weird.
It's like if they replaced 1 Ranger, it had to be with like, I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong, but I feel like that's my recollection of when I saw the latest Rangers.
I am going to check this out, though. I'm going to check it out. Oh, my gosh. Oh, okay. Hold on. Sorry for all the noises, everybody, but I got excited about something because I just realized I read some, I guess, news yesterday, which is very relevant to today's topic. So this wouldn't have been early childhood, and I don't even know if you watched it. I assume you did, but did you watch iCarly?
Yes!
They are remaking iCarly with some of the original cast.
Oh, really?
Miranda Cosgrove is going to be in it.
But I presume she's not Carly.
I presume she is, though. I think they're just supposed to be older, but the problem is, they didn't get Sam or Gibby.
You can't be iCarly without Sam and Gibby.
Yeah, they made the whole show. Nobody watched for any other reason. You think we watched for Carly? No.
I love how iCarly was YouTubers before YouTubers were famous, except they had their own website. They weren't on YouTube.
Yeah.
Which, like, how did they get any traffic to that website? Because unless you're, like, famous to begin with, no one's going to check out your website.
This is TV land, okay? They were just really good. If you want to be like super famous, all you have to do is be really good. That's how that works.
Yeah, I suppose also in TV land, her entire setup probably cost millions of euros. I mean,
Yeah,
of
oh my God.
dollars.
The whole setup, like they had a proper camera, they had a website that they maintained, they had that whole upstairs thing, they had the random dancing, music, and lights. Guests.
I know. Which, if you consider there's only one episode where they have a product placement and then they end up backing out of the product placement, it's like, how did you get the money for this?
Oh, no,
There's only one episode where you have a sponsor.
They didn't back out of the product placement. They did a positive negative review because it was of the shoes and they were like terrible. So they were talking about, look, if your feet get too warm, you can just like stick your toes out of it. It breaks so easy. It's great. So.
Yeah, that was true. But like, that's my point. That was the only product placement they ever had. So how did they make any money? At least if they were on YouTube, they'd make ad revenue.
They probably had ads on their website, I guess. But there was only one time as well they had financial issues, which was like, so I think somebody like stole their credit card or the credit card got declined or something, and the website, they lost their domain for like a minute and somebody else bought it to get revenge on them for something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Was that weird guy who was like, you will rue the day?
You will rue. And they kept being like, what is rue? It's like a base of a soup or something.
It's a mixture of butter and flour.
Yes, and that's how I know what a roux is, and I make it quite often. I don't make roux, I like make roux to make things. I don't just serve butter and flour.
Don't just eat butter and flour.
Oh, you're not supposed to
I also love how like Spencer was an artist, but also like was terrible. Also like somehow made money.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't a terrible artist, he was just terrible at getting jobs for his art.
Somebody must have sold drugs. Somebody had to be selling drugs.
Totally sold drugs. Spencer totally sold drugs. Spencer was on drugs.
Probably not even like
there was an actual iCarly website that like Nickelodeon like bought the domain name for iCarly. They had a whole website on it.
Because they had a competition one time to send somebody to New York. You had to write about why you and your best friend deserve to go to New York, and I wrote about you. Let's go to New York.
What the hell, Zad? We didn't win. You didn't write well about us and our great friendship and why we should go to New York.
I should have written like a sob story, like, oh my God, it's so sad. She like is just really dumb, so we need to go. There's nothing.
She's an idiot. She'll never make it to adulthood because she's just an idiot.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anything like actual. Anything actual? Is that a sentence?
Don't ask me. I'm dyslexic.
You still know how to speak.
Not that that has anything to do with sentence structure, but still.
It's fine. You can use the excuse. I don't have it. So I just can't speak. But yeah, no, because they had the website and they had little, whoa, shite. I hit my microphone, guys. I thought I wasn't going to do it this episode, but I did it, and I did it quite badly.
I didn't even hear it, so I think you're good.
Oh, you won't hear it, but it's going to pick up on the recording. For sure.
Yay.
Yay. Yeah, they had like little clips on the website, but I kind of was disappointed when I went on it, because I went on it at the computer in the library, because this was kind of like before you didn't do that. So, and I was disappointed that they didn't have full iCarly episodes. I was like, I wanted to watch, because they never let us see a full episode of their show. We would just see 2 minutes of them going random dancing.
Yeah, they seem to have like compilations of like episodes that have been in episodes of iCarly. You know, like, you know the way they do a segment and you would see them recording the segment, but you wouldn't see the whole episode of like what they were recording. They seem to have like compilations of those like, oh, Spencer's a baby segments. So, you know, like they'd have a compilation of those, but then they wouldn't have like the full episode.
I don't know why the way you said Spencer's a baby was so funny to me.
I don't remember what it was, but you know the way Spencer used to be like in a pram with a baby body and it had a hole in it and he'd stick his head up in it? My
Yeah.
brother went as that for Halloween once and won a prize.
Did he? I've
He
never
got a
seen this.
baby. He didn't go as Spencer, but he like went as a baby. We just got a doll, hot glued it into like a box with a fake mattress in it, and we popped off the doll's head, cut a hole in it, and then he stuck his head in. It was a weird Halloween, man.
What did you go as that year?
I think I was too old by then. I was in like sixth class in primary school, so I was way too cool for that shiz.
We probably spent Halloween together and dressed up that year. Don't you
That's true.
lie. Don't you lie.
I'm fairly sure that was probably the year we got attacked by street youths and their fireworks.
Us?
Yeah, do you remember we were going around Sky's Nana's estate trick-or-treating and people were setting off fireworks there and then a bunch of street youths aimed their fireworks at us and set them off.
Were we okay? I have no memory of this.
I don't think they were full on like fireworks. I think they were like little banger ones or whatever. But you know, it was still. I think we just kind of ran away from them.
Those goddamn
Street
street
youths.
I don't rememy. I
Goddamn
literally
street
don't remember that
youths.
at all. Oh dear. You know what?
Maybe it was just
I
me.
don't remember
No,
much.
I can't remember.
Because I know we went trick or treating in her nanny's estate, but I don't remember that. I remember the costume I wore because I had pictures of it, but I don't actually remember it.
I think you were there because that was the year we saw lanterns growing up, and you were convinced they were UFOs.
We were all convinced.
We were, but then I was a little like, wait, what? And then because there was where it was just one going up, I was like, oh my god, yeah, UFO. And then there was like 20, and I was like,
yeah.
I don't think the alien invasion is starting.
To clarify for people who are not following what we're talking about, there was just a load of like those fire lanterns that go up in the sky, and we were like 11 or 12, and we thought that they were UFOs.
Like when it was just one going up, you couldn't tell what it was. It was just like a light flying through the sky kind of thing. So, you know, whatever. And then there was 20, and then we were like, okay, it's not the alien invasion.
I probably didn't think it's not the alien invasion. I was probably like, it's the alien invasion, guys. I've been saying this for years. This is what's happening. I'm not crazy. You're sheep.
Yeah, you were the girl raised on ancient aliens, though, so.
Yeah, there's several things wrong with my upbringing. I wouldn't bring up that first. But I still watch Ancient Aliens. They're still making episodes. So.
I want to do an archaeologist reviews Ancient Aliens episode based on archaeology because I know there are some about pyramids and shiz.
Some? Most.
I don't know.
Pyramids or Stonehenge or like landmarks. They have okay, so now they have like they had an episode which for me was a little bit far-fetched, which was the last one. It was the Galactic Keyhole or something like that was the name of the episode. And they were talking about all these keyhole-shaped motifs across like the world and stuff. And like in ancient Egypt, they had the key-shaped things. And then the chalice that Jesus had at the Last Supper was keyhole-shaped. And they had these fountains in different places in the world, like India and somewhere else. And they were keyhole-shaped. And I was just kind of watching it going,
this is a generic shape, dude.
No, I didn't like that one, but they do have a lot of ones about like pyramids or Stonehenge, or like they have a couple about like Easter Island and stuff. Those ones are interesting.
Oh, I did a project on Easter Island, so I should maybe do that.
If you want to the episode.
I had an archaeology class that was entirely based on the archaeology of collapse. So we were each given a civilized, like each group was given a collapse. Like,
collapse. Oh.
Collapsed.
Okay.
So we were each given a civilization that collapsed, and my group was given the Rapa Nui on Easter Island and how Europeans colonized and killed them all because Europeans suck.
Yeah, we're kind of the worst.
I'm European. But I'm not one of those Europeans, so it's fine.
We're like the good Europeans.
We're Irish. Everyone loves us.
Yeah, well, we never did shit to hurt anybody. We were just
we were the ones who were colonized. We were not colonizers. We're the oppressed.
But even if we had wanted to be not wanted, if we had the opportunity to be colonizers, I strongly believe we would not have been, because Irish people just want a bit of crack. Like, we don't want to take over the world.
I mean, to be fair, Vikings I mean, we're descended from Vikings, so that's way too far back for anyone to care.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
It's not a logical argument, but we're going with that.
Yeah. Anyway,
Off topic.
childhood TV shows.
Mm-hmm. I
Was
mean,
just like
technically, Aliens is one of your childhood TV shows.
true. Although I have no idea when I actually started watching it. It definitely wasn't early childhood anyway. But
See, I was thinking the same with Adventure Time. I'm like, when did I start watching that? Does that count as a childhood TV show, or was it like a tween TV show? I think it was more my tweens.
we can count that as childhood though, because iCarly would have been tweens as well, because it wasn't out
Yeah.
when we were young.
There's one episode of iCarly where they had a bunch of chicks for some reason. I think it was like a class project.
Oh, I thought you meant like
incubate a bunch
women. I was like, what are you talking about?
no, baby chickens.
Baby chicken.
And they got loose in the apartment and they started looking for them.
Oh, I remember that.
But I don't know why I specifically remember this bit. I don't know if maybe this episode was like the most replayed episode on Nickelodeon or something, or that I just noticed it once and it stood out to me every single time they played the episode. But there's a scene in it where they've got like a tea, coffee, like sugar jugs on their kitchen island. And so they like lift the lids off all of them to see if the chickens are at it, and then the camera pans over to the other side of the room, and then it comes back, and they're all back in a row with their lids on them. And for some reason, that was the biggest inconsistency that bugged me in a TV show ever, and I think it's just that they played that episode a lot. So, like, I noticed it once, and then every single time they replayed that episode, I was like, the freaking jugs!
Yeah.
In order!
I never noticed that, but I think that was the most played episode because I remember that episode really vividly, and I don't remember most of the other ones at all. So they probably played that one all the time.
It's funny, though, because, like, I hadn't really thought about like individual episodes that get played the most, because when I think of like TV shows being on, I usually think that like they play them all in order. Do you know what I mean? Like they play like all of season 1, then all of season 2, and all of season 3. But I've heard people talk that there's an episode of Avatar that got replayed more than any other episode, and so because of that, it's a filler episode. But it was kind of like a okay, decent filler episode, but then because it got replayed so often, it became the most hated episode of Avatar of all time. And I was like, how did one episode end up getting replayed more than any other episode? Like, I would think it would go like season in a row, especially a show like Avatar, where, like, the episodes actually do play into one another unless they're filler episodes.
But they never, like any show, they didn't used to play it in order unless it was like a series that was coming out at that time, like Grey's Anatomy or something. But I think maybe, this is just a theory, a game theory. Anyway, maybe they like, so that you have to pay to play the shows, obviously. So maybe there's like some of the episodes are priced differently.
Oh, yeah, like the filler episodes are probably cheaper because they don't have any like bearing on the story. Yeah, so you can play them out of order and it doesn't really matter. Whereas if you play like the episode right before Aang goes into battle, it's like, where's the whole season preparing for the battle, and then where's the battle that comes afterwards? You can't just give me the like preparing for battle episode.
But they will.
They will, and it is a pain in the behind.
Yeah, but speaking of changing like episodes and stuff, you know what I remember? Like, so I've watched about 1 million cartoons and stuff when I was a kid, 1 million different shows. And sometimes I'll have a slight memory of one because I wouldn't have watched it that much. And I'll be like trying to research for days. What was that show? What was that show? And I was so confused as to why I'd seen so many cartoons and so many shows and been like, what are these? Because on RTE, they would change the shows that they had all the time because they only had a certain period in the day that was for kids' TV. So
yeah,
shows and they changed them around. So like they would have Recess, which I absolutely loved. Yeah, and they would have the Proud Family. I think at one point they might have had Time Squad.
I don't remember those.
I think maybe Time Squad was on Cartoon Network, but
yeah, I didn't have Cartoon Network.
And they had what was that show called? The Mona the Vampire. And
oh my god, I rewatched that whole thing once. Are you talking about the one where there's a boy and he's from a family of vampires, but he goes, gets a live action, he goes to school? Like, no, that's not it.
No, it's a
No,
girl called
okay.
Mona.
Oh, no, that's not it. There was this show, there was this kids show. Oh, God, what was it called? It was about, I think, like, the guy's best friend in it ended up, like, in a bunch of other things as well. But it was about this boy, and he was a vampire, but because he was a kid, he like wasn't a full-fledged vampire yet, so he could still go out in the daylight and like hang out with his friends. Like he had to go to school and stuff and be like normal. But his whole family were vampires. But like he kind of didn't want to be a vampire. He kind of wanted to stay in the human world or whatever. It went on for a few seasons. But for some reason, I rewatched that whole thing like 5 years ago. I don't know why. I don't like. It's not like I watched it as a kid. It was just on. So, I observed it while it was on kind of thing. But for some reason, it popped into my head like 5 years ago, and I rewatched the whole thing. It was weird.
I've never seen that, but you're gonna have to find out what that was called for me because I want to know. But you know what show popped into my head? A live action one that I was like, it's not action, but you know what I mean? Actual real people that I wanted to rewatch because I remembered it so well. I don't know if you ever watched it, but My Parents Are Aliens.
I think I probably saw it. It sounds familiar. I vaguely feel like I remember it.
Yeah, well, I used to watch that all the time. Like that was one of my most watched shows. I think because it was one that my mom actually liked. Like, because cartoons can be annoying for parents because they're super
Yeah,
loud. Like, she kind of liked that one.
I hate Peppa Pig. I never let my cousins watch Peppa Pig when they're older. It is the devil's cartoon.
It really is. It really is. Bing is nice. Bing is nice and chill. But Peppa Pig, no. It's like, I'm Peppa Pig. I'm just like, please.
The whole episode.
Everybody unless there's like a sheep in that episode and like I'm the sheep character. Bah. Anyway, forgot what I was saying. But yeah, My Parents Are Aliens, and I wanted to rewatch that, but I remember being really annoyed because like for the first season they had different parents, or I think it was just a different mum, and then I guess the actress one.
Oh,
Yeah, they
I
had like a
vaguely
blonde.
remember this.
Yeah, and then they got a new one, and I guess they made it so she changed her human form or something, but obviously the actress just didn't want
Why
to.
would no one else in town notice that your mom looks different?
Yes, curious thing. I would like to know. And like, I don't know, there was one episode of that I have vague memories of, which is like the friend of the youngest daughter. I can't remember anybody's names. This is the problem. The friend of the youngest daughter had some like secret boyfriend something that she was texting or a secret admirer, and then the daughter started texting him instead because the other one was too nervous to do it. I don't know. It was something along those lines. I'm probably getting it completely wrong, but I guess that was the most shown episode of that.
Yeah. That made me think of House of Anubis. Did you ever watch that?
That's not Genie in the House.
No. It was about this boarding school, and the kids lived in like different houses in like within the boarding school. Do you know what I mean? Like it wasn't just one huge dorm that all the kids lived in, like because it was a really old boarding school, so they just had like houses with like house mothers or whatever they like the kids lived in. So and they were each like named a different thing, and these kids lived in the House of Anubis. I think all the houses were named after different Egyptian gods, but it was something like the teachers were all in a cult of Anubis and were like sacrificing the students or something.
What?
I don't think they were like death sacrificing them, but they were doing something with them. And it was, I just remember it being so cool. But I was like looking it up there a while ago to like see how it ended. And it turns out that like the love interest that was going on, like the two main love interests, one of them ended, whatever was happening, like whatever the story was about the cult or whatever, one of the girls ended up being like some host to something or other, and then the guy was like this other thing, but it meant that they couldn't be within close proximity to each other because obviously one of the actors wanted to leave the show. So the guy just like disappeared and never came back.
You're just like,
And then
I'm
they
gone.
added one extra season on after that kind of made no sense. I was just like wiking it. I didn't watch it. And I was like, oh, I kind of wanted to rewatch this, but it never ended properly. So now I don't want to rewatch it because it's just going to be annoying.
Well, now
But it
I
made
want
me
to watch
think.
it.
It was actually like I think the first like 2 seasons were good, and then that guy left, and they just kind of like added on an extra season, and then they were like, "Yeah, this isn't working." But then another show I vaguely remember. See, I feel like I used to watch this, but now I can't remember. It was this girl, and she had this box that had like these wood carving animals in it, or like, maybe they weren't wood carving. Maybe they were like I don't know what they were. They're like these little like but then they used to come to life or something. And it was kind of in the same vein of House of Anubis that there was some creepy magic thing going on. I don't remember what this was. It just came to me there, and I was like, what was this? I feel like I used to love it. I feel like there was a raven, the
Probably
bird, not
like
a person.
almost the same age, basically the same age, same year at school, but we watched completely different shows. How did this happen? I've never heard of these.
I also started watching a show a while ago. It was a kids. By a while ago, I mean like 5 to like 8 years ago. You know, I still wasn't like a kid when I started watching it, but it was like one of those kids shows. It was called Wolf Blood. It was pretty good.
Haven't heard of that either. You have
It was
all
actually it was good until they did the same thing where the main girl left for a season. And it was kind of like, oh, that was annoying because obviously the actress didn't want to be in the show anymore. So she left for a season, and then her love interest was just in it for an extra season alone because she wasn't there. And then he left, but then they kept the season going for like I think another season or two with just like, but they like basically recast the entire cast except like the three Mean Girl characters that were in the background of the episodes were still there and were now main characters, but like everyone else were new characters. Do you know when the show does that for like one last season where they're obviously trying to hold on to something and you're just like, dude, let it go. No one knows any of these people. Just let it go.
That's really weird.
I feel like that's every Nickelodeon show ever. Is that a love interest gets broken up because one of the actors wants to leave. Then the other actor stays on for like one season. And then they reboot the entire show without telling anyone. They recast everyone. It goes on for a season. And then they realize no one wanted this. And we should have stopped while we were ahead.
Did they do that with H2O?
One of the girls left. So they brought in a new girl. And then they had to bring in a new love interest for her, obviously, because like they all had to have love interests.
Of course.
But obviously it was a dude as well because heteronormality. But like those are the only two new characters I think they brought in, and then the guy's sister. But like all the other characters were still the same. Like that made sense that three new people were brought in, like one new girl, her love interest, and his sister. And it kind of like revamped the show a little bit. Whereas like I feel like there's other Nickelodeon shows where they just like not recast, but they like soft reboot the entire show with a whole new cast. And you're just like, if I wanted to watch a new show, I would have watched a new show.
But you know what? Actually, I want to explain for people who don't know what H2O is, because I'm sure there's people who don't know. So H2O was this amazing, just like chef's kiss, beautiful art. This show, I can't chef kiss properly because my finger is fucking broken, but whatever. So they were three normal girls, and then one day they like bathe under the full moon or something in some lake in a cave, and they become mermaids, but not all the time, only if they touch water, which I distinctly remember also included moisturizer, because moisturizer is like 60% water, so they couldn't use moisturizer anymore. So like the whole concept of the show was they just had to avoid water, but they lived in Australia by the coast. And
one of them was like going to the Olympics as a swimmer.
Yeah.
And had to give up on her dream. And they had to drink water out of straws and lock the bathroom door every time they took a bath because they'd turn into mermaids.
Yeah, but they also had issues like sprinklers were a thing and water fights, and like there was one episode where they had a
Yeah.
slumber party thing, and like somebody spilled
Yeah,
water on her, so she had to jump in a sleeping bag and like stay there.
but I love how, because something like that for the first season makes sense and it's funny, like while characters are trying to like figure out their wacky new world. But I kind of hate how shows like have a weakness like that or something that they then just eventually write out for no reason because it's getting a little too complicated. Like with the they can't even use moisturizer or whatever. But at least in H2O they explained it away as one of the girls has heat powers, which she always had, and she eventually learned how to control them enough that she could like vapor dry anyone off before they got noticed kind of thing. And one of the girls had water powers, so she could like learn to like divert the water as it was coming near. Like they explained it away as the girls eventually got powerful enough with their powers that they could like protect themselves against turning into mermaids. And I was like, this is the greatest way to explain away a like season 1 weakness that I have ever seen, because usually they just like forget about it and write it off. But like, no, they don't have to drink out of straws anymore. Water doesn't affect them. It's like,
But like the thing is, right, because I forgot that they had powers, they had extra powers on top of that, but I remember it was Cleo. She didn't have a third power, and wasn't it like it turned out her extra power was being able to hold her breath for longer than the others or something? Like they found out that's what she could do.
no, I think one of them could freeze things. One of them could. Ricky could heat things. One of them I thought could move water, but then I think you're right. She could also freeze the water.
Could
What?
control water. Cleo's power was that she could hold her breath for
No, Cleo
longer.
had a proper power.
No.
Swear she had a proper power.
Can I Google this?
No,
Hold on.
Google it.
While I'm trying to Google this, I wanted to also say, right? So the reason H2O was so clear in my mind was because there's this whole revamp of like teenagers on TikTok and stuff doing compilations, and it's all just them going, Cleo, no. That was my attempt at an Australian accent, but it's like you need to look up compilations of H2O on YouTube and on TikTok and stuff. It's like amazing. Hold on.
They did have another series after H2O called Mako Mermaids, which was about, I never watched it, but from what I understand of it, it was about a group of mermaids from Mako Island, but like where the girls got turned into mermaids, but all these mermaids were born mermaids. So they kind of like, the girls at this point had like moved on and they'd all gotten jobs and stuff. Like they're not in the series, but I think Ricky was in like one episode because she ends up using her mermaid power to scavenge like sunken vessels and stuff. So she like finds artifacts and things and she like brings them to museums and stuff, and they like bump into Ricky because they're trying to steal something from the museum or whatever, and they look down on her because she's a made mermaid, not a born mermaid. And I'm like, bitch, she was chosen. You're just genetically advanced. Shut up.
I have two very important things to say. I looked up Cleo. First of all, her powers were in fact enhanced breath. But she got
What?
new powers afterwards, but she was a siren temporarily, apparently.
I don't remember this.
It says siren temporarily, but here's the most important part, because I forgot this. So you said one of them was an Olympic swimmer, almost
Yeah.
wanted to be. I forgot that her job was a dolphin feeder, and then later on a dolphin trainer.
Yeah, I remember that now.
They all had water-related jobs.
I think the siren thing, I think I remember what that was. I'm fairly sure that was when they were slightly being controlled by the water, like they weren't in control, and I think part of that was that they ended up making their boyfriends nearly drown. I vaguely remember something like that going on.
Yes, fuck man.
But I don't think they like consciously became sirens. I think it was more just like the moon was controlling them and then they had the ability to control the guys or something. Like, I don't think it was clearly stated, oh, we've become sirens. It was just like for a minute time they could control other people for some reason. But that was a good show. I love how Cleo and oh shoot, what's her name? The swimmer one, she's the one who left for that like last season.
I don't
But I
remember her
love
name.
how the two of them they both ended up in the same TV show like later on as well.
Are they? What show are they in?
They were in the originals and the Vampire Diaries.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Megan.
Yeah.
I think me and you together should rewatch H2O because I'm remembering it so fondly.
I just remembered the new mermaid was Irish. No, wait, she wasn't Irish. Her
Oh,
parents moved around a lot and she became a mermaid in Ireland. So, Irish mermaid.
I love that. Yay, Irish representation. There was another show. Sorry,
She
this is,
was.
I'm gonna go. You go.
God.
You say your.
No, I just remembered that she'd been a mermaid since she was like a kid.
Ooh,
So she had like slightly like knew what was going on more than the others did.
okay.
God.
Well, no, I was gonna say this reminded me. I'm only gonna talk about this one briefly. But there was a show that I used to watch on RTE, which was because we had a lot of Australian shows on TV, and I don't know whether the show was Irish or Australian because it was about a guy and a girl who had portals in their walls so they could visit each other. So, like, she was Irish and she could go to Australia and he could go to see her in Ireland. Do you remember?
I think I watched maybe like one episode of this, but I remember it existed.
It did, and it was
Because I remember
hilarious.
when they would swap over, it'd be like nighttime for the other one
Yeah,
because of like time difference and everything. Oh.
such a good show, though, right? They're like,
See, Disney Channel, RTE, all these places that make kids shows used to have great kids shows, whereas now the kids shows are all so dumbed down. Like, how stupid do you think kids are?
very
Also, the
stupid.
issue is like if a show's been going on for 5 years and like the actor has gone from like a tween to like nearly 18 or like something like that, they're still as stupid and as like immature and childish as they were in the pilot episode. Whereas like when we were kids and if a TV show went on that long, the characters aged because the viewing audience aged. And at 18, I no longer wanted to watch a 13-year-old being stupid. I wanted to watch an 18-year-old
Being
being
stupid.
not as stupid. But you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they aged up the show with the actors and with the audience. Whereas nowadays, if you watch like the first episode of a show and you watch like season 5 of a show, nothing's changed. They're all still stupid.
But here's the other issue as well. Like they used to address stuff in older shows that they would never address now. Like That's So Raven had an episode about smoking, like how you shouldn't be smoking. There was episodes about beauty standards, about racial issues and eating disorders and stuff. Maybe not outright eating disorders, but crazy dieting to get skinny or something, like stuff
Yeah,
like that. They would never do that now. And those are like really important things that kids know about. They're
I
affected by
know.
it.
And like the amount of shows that have like phones and internet and like they use technology, like I'm pretty sure there's a whole show where like these kids basically run a Silicon Valley like app business, like they own an app. I'm fairly sure there's some show like that on, but they've got all these shows like involving all this technology, and I don't think they have ever taken advantage of the fact to warn kids about how dangerous technology can be. They're all just like, we own an app company. It's great. The internet's fantastic. Like, I'm just like, what the hell, dude?
Yeah.
And I would think back in the day, like when we were kids, parents would have been more up in arms about those kinds of shows where they were warning about like smoking and this and that. I feel that parents would have said, oh, you're just going to like convince them to do it by putting it in a show back then. Whereas now I would presume that people realize that the younger you address issues, the less likely they are to become issues.
You would think,
I don't know.
but in America, like it's going the opposite direction. Like American parents are trying more and more to like hide kids from reality completely and just everything. Like I'm trying to think, I heard an example of this the other day, but I can't remember. And like people, they made so many complaints of the first season of Stranger Things that there was so much smoking in it that they had to cut down the amount that the characters smoked in the second episode because there were so many complaints about it. So it's actually getting
But
worse.
Stranger Things isn't a kids show.
Yeah. Yeah. So if they're
Who's
complaining for
letting their
adult
kids watch
shows,
Stranger Things?
but they didn't even complain for kids, they just complained that there was too much smoking. So if they're
It's the
going to do it in
freaking
a kids
70s
show,
or 80s or 90s or
80s,
whatever. 80s. I
very
don't know.
distinctly 80s.
I
But
don't
yeah,
know my eras.
it's one of those eras. But yeah, no, it's getting worse over there. I think in Europe it's
Yeah.
getting better, and then in America it's going the opposite direction.
Yeah, but
As
the
in,
issue
like,
is like we don't have a lot of European kids shows.
yeah,
Um, this is why whenever I'm like, oh god, sorry. This is why, like, when I have kids, I'm like, no, you're watching the shows I watched because they address real world shit. I am not letting you watch this Disney fairy tale for 5 years. 5 seasons of Disney fairy tale where no one grows up. Because, bitch, you best grow up or I'm kicking you out of this house.
yes, please. No, like, I don't know, like, I understand to agree to a degree, like sheltering kids. Like, you don't want them watching murder or sex scenes or something,
Yeah,
obviously. But like, they need to learn things at the same time. Like, they need to know this how
yeah.
the world works, and not everything is amazing. And here you might face these challenges, and here's how you can deal with them. Like, it's because when they
Yeah,
deal
because,
with real
like,
life, it's going to be like, oh Jesus, what the fuck do I do? Because they don't know.
yeah, because like when every single episode of a kid's show is about like a superhero facing off a supervillain or something like that, it's like, how is this in any way useful to a kid? I would rather my kid sit down and watch an episode wherein, like, a friend helps another friend out of a dodgy situation because of like smoking or like an extreme diet rather than 10 episodes of some superhero kid fighting off some supervillain kid. I'm like, that's not useful or helpful to anyone. I'm just letting you develop an addiction to television
For
that's
no
not teaching
reason.
you anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're going to develop an addiction to television, at least learn something.
I just realized our whole talking about childhood TV shows became us going back in my day.
Back in my day. I feel like the generational gap between like people saying back in my day has gotten bigger and bigger because there's more changes every like this. There's a shorter gap between changes
Yeah.
now than there used to be.
Kids on TikTok have started romanticizing being a teenager in 2014. I just thought you should know that.
I love how you said kids on TikTok. I don't even remember 2014.
Well,
What was being a kid in 2014?
I guess that was when the indie thing was going on. Like, everybody was listening to Arctic Monkeys or something,
I
and
did love Arctic Monkeys.
that's not the teenagerness that I had, but I think that was going on from what I gathered from their compilations of, oh my God, imagine being a teenager in 2014. I'm like, that was 6 years ago. What are you talking about? Go to bed.
Are you 6?
Are you sick?
The only way you can't know what being a child was in 2014 is if you are 6.
I
In
don't think
which case, what the fuck you doing on TikTok, 6-year-old?
I don't think that maths is correct, but like, actually, wait. No, I can't do that maths. My brain is too tired.
Okay, I know they might not have been teenagers in 2014, but to have been alive in 2014, you have to be older than 6.
But like, I've seen not just like one or two posts, like I've seen loads of them, and I've seen tweets about it as well. And I'm like, what are all these like 5-year-olds doing on the internet?
Dude,
Is
I
nobody
don't
watching
remember.
this?
Nothing great happened in 2014. I don't remember what happened in 2014.
What
Chill out.
what did happen in
I was in 4th year. I had black hair and was dressing like Abby Shudo from NCIS. That was not a great time. Don't romanticize that shit. It was a bad time, okay?
So 2014 was actually, for me, I'm trying to remember. 2014 was the year that I moved to Dublin. So that was the year I got kicked
Yeah.
out and went from emo to hippie.
See, not a great time.
Not a great time. But I did
We're
I
all in
did
a
get
transitional
to
phase.
yeah, no. But I did leave my manipulative abusive ex, so there is that. That's
Upside.
yeah.
But that's not a general 2014 thing. That's
Everybody
just
left their
a
manipulative exes in
personal.
2014.
Yep, everyone.
Look, everybody had a weird phase. 2014 was not fun. In fact, no year was fun ever.
Nope.
Life is pain. But you know what's a
No.
bright light among all that pain? Dumb childhood TV shows for the nostalgia.
Yeah.
See how I tie that all together in a
Yep.
nice little bow?
I also would like to comment that technically we are in the same generation as these idiots who think 2014 was the great time to be a teenager, and I am not okay with that.
Yeah, we're just barely there. Like we're Gen Z, like just.
Adjacent.
Yeah.
Gen Z. Can we create something in between? Because I feel like honestly, obviously I don't know about other generations. I don't know if baby boomers, are the really different from whatever came after them. I don't know.
Gen X, I
But
think.
yeah, but I feel like there's a lot of people our age who don't fit into millennial but don't fit into Gen Z. Because I feel like however many years consists of a generation no longer applies to how many changes are occurring in that time frame. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how many years it is that consists of a generation, but let's say it's like 20 years. I feel like it should be cut down to like 10 years because I feel like there's too many changes happening in that time for us all to be the same.
I mean, I get it in the sense of like tracking generational changes, like entering the workforce and education wise, and like
Yeah.
thing with like Gen Z drive less, but they are less risk taking and they care more about the environment. Like there's that, and that all encompasses us in Gen Z. But then
Yeah.
within that, we have the Zillennials and we have the Zoomers.
Yeah. Yeah,
We're the
because I feel
Millennials.
like millennials. Yeah, I feel like statistic wise of like, oh, how many millennials went to college compared to how many Gen Zers are going to college and like all of that stuff. I feel like that makes sense. But cultural wise, which is what I feel like a lot of people use the terms for anyway, like I feel like culture wise, if you're talking about generations, there needs to be like a different categories because I think it is like 20 years or something consists of a generation. I feel like that's way too broad for us all to be culturally the same
Yeah.
generation.
Yeah, I mean, like, we're in the same generation as, like, what, a 15-year-old, a 14-year-old or something?
Yeah. All
Like,
those TikTok kids.
all the
Those
TikTok.
dang TikTok kids, get off my lawn.
Those street youths.
Street youths.
Yeah. I mean,
I am not in the same generation as street youths, god damn it.
no, me neither, obviously not. But, hmm, I forgot what I wanted to say about that. But I do think we should say our final thoughts on childhood TV shows.
Yeah, we went off topic again.
Yeah, before we call it a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
What are your final thoughts?
Um, I don't know. Go first. You go first.
I thought you were just going to be like, I like TV. I don't know why I thought you were going to say
I
that.
like to.
I, I want to say, right, there are so many childhood TV shows that we could not possibly talk about them in one thing, but they definitely did shape who we are. That's the core message. But I want to give some shout outs. I want to give some sister shout outs because James Charles is being channeled through me currently. Not really. I don't have that amount of energy ever. Balamori,
Oh my god, yes.
yes. There was a show, and I do not remember what it was called, but the theme tune was like, someone once told me the grass is much greener on the other side. There was a cartoon, and I think she was Ginger. We also have, which I don't know how we didn't bring it up because this was my favorite for years, Rugrats,
And they had like the teenager Rugrats as well.
all grown up. Yeah,
That was it, yeah.
yes.
Okay.
And SpongeBob, which we somehow didn't mention either.
Oh,
You don't like SpongeBob?
I liked SpongeBob when I was a kid, but you know the way SpongeBob like kind of encompasses a lot of age groups?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when I was towards like the higher half of that age group, it started to annoy me.
Yeah, I think me too, but I definitely did enjoy it at a younger
Yeah,
age.
when I was like way, way younger, it was good.
Mm.
Oh my god, Scooby Doo!
Scooby Doo,
Scooby
of
Doo!
course. Oh, you know what I want to give a list of? The childhood TV shows that I will still watch on occasion when
Yeah.
either I am stoned or sleepy or sick or getting on a plane because in recent years I have terrible fear of flying, so I play cartoons because they're colorful and loud and there's a lot going on and it
Yeah.
keeps me focused on that. I think my cat is dropping things in the other room. If you heard
It's a
that bang,
ghost.
it's a ghost. So the shows that I will still watch on occasion are the Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Lab, Courage, the Cowardly Dog, right? right?
Yes.
Sometimes cow and chicken. They have an episode about lesbians, by the way. They were
What?
carpet
Yes.
munchers.
No.
Yeah, they were bikers. They were bikers and they came into the house and they munched the carpet.
Accurate description of you. Always. It's just you, Lan. It's just you.
Yeah, anytime I visited your place, I just come over and I start chewing the carpet.
That's why we've only got carpets upstairs, because she's not allowed upstairs anymore. She's downstairs only lesbian.
You lesbians stay downstairs. Oh dear. I think those might be the only ones I watched, so I'm glad I ended on that note.
I still watch Charmed, and now I want to go back and watch Charmed. So
I forgot one. I forgot one. I do want to watch Charmed as well. I forgot one. I watched Adventure Time because I never finished Adventure Time, so I started watching it from the beginning. I'm currently on that stakes bit, with Bubblegum and Marceline. So
I never finished watching Adventure Time as well. I want to get around to it. But Adventure Time, Charmed. I used to watch Stargate as a kid, which is not a kid's show.
What it is?
But Stargate, love it. Also, Smallville, did not watch it as a kid, but love watching it now. I will occasionally just go back and rewatch Smallville. I probably should have watched that as a kid. I feel like I saw a few episodes of it, but I saw it in a time where live action shows were not doing it for me. I needed those cartoon vibes. I needed those high sucrose, high sugar vibe. I don't know what I'm saying.
I don't know what you're saying either.
I just want to go back and watch a lot of shows now. I gotta finish Adventure Time and I gotta rewatch Charmed. Thanks for that. I'm gonna be busy.
You probably don't know this either because I reminded you of the. I'm not reminded. I told you about the iCarly thing, and I get all my news from Twitter. They're also making a spin-off of Adventure Time with just Princess Bubblegum and Marceline because they're canon now.
Yes, I know. I saw that. Oh my god. Another kids' TV show that most definitely shaped my life and is possibly coming back. Time Team! Baby!
Wait,
Time
is that
Team!
coming back?
Time Team. They've set up a Patreon. I think they're doing a YouTube channel now instead of like a show.
That's
I saw something on Twitter, but when I clicked the link was broken. So.
Oh, maybe there's
Time Team
people interested.
Yeah, I'm an archaeologist now. I blame you, Time Team, for my unemployability.
I'm gonna watch the shit out of that. Honestly, forgot that it existed. Well, I think that's all of our shows. I think perhaps we can call this a podcast.
It's a podcast. Podcast time. I don't know what I'm doing.
You're making this a jingle. Clearly. Podcast, it's a podcast. So we're going to just sing that every time. Well, if you want to keep up with us on social media so that you can see little pictures, which we need to post more of, and we will be doing that.
I have a good one that's going up. I have a good picture of my podcast buddy, aka my cat.
Yes, I can.
Being podcast helpful.
Yes. Well, if you want to keep up with those things, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at CACU Podcast on both those places. You can also follow us on, or subscribe to us on YouTube if you haven't already, under Coffee and Ketchup Podcast. And you can find us in all the places where you will find podcasts. I can't do this.
We're on Twitch. We are not on Twitch.
We're not on Twitch. All the places that you'll find podcasts, you'll find us there under Coffee and Ketchup Podcast. So follow us in all those places, or the places that you find most relevant to you. And you can also find. Should we take a break from me speaking for a second so that people can take in the rest of the information? Megan, sing the jingle again, and then I'll tell them our link.
It's a podcast. I nearly said it's a stream time.
Stream time.
Podcast.
Now that we've had our little interlude, if you want to find Megan on social media, you can find her on YouTube at Megan McGrath, or on the social media sites such as Instagram and Twitter, and I think possibly Twitch has the same name, at Megan_MCG or MCGR, depending on which part of the world you're from.
I would also like to note, for anyone who watches our podcast, I don't usually do this a lot in person, but for some reason I feel the need to do it on screen. So there you go.
It adds flair. And if you want to keep up with me, I'm Bangelina Skov everywhere. except for
Because she is
Pornhub.
consistent, unlike me.
The last episode I said that, so I'm just gonna make it a thing now.
Not on Pornhub, bruh. Only OnlyFans.
I'm sorry to disappoint. I'm not there either. Sorry, guys.
Ah, dang! Where am I gonna get my feet pics from?
I have a problem with feet. I don't like feet.
I don't like feet either. Feet are very disturbing.
Like, people who are into that, I'm not going to shame you. It's just not for me. It is
I don't even like my own feet.
No.
Why would I like other people's feet? I have weird
Yeah,
feet, man.
right. Anyway, that has been childhood.
That's a podcast.
Next episode, we're either going to talk about body modifications or dark academia / subcultures. If you have a preference of what you'd like to see and you're watching this on YouTube, you can let us know, or we might do a poll on our socials. Again, CACU CACU podcast. I'm usually so good at this and I'm so bad today.
You're better than me. I say so there.
CACU podcast on the socials. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. And
thank you.
Thank you for helping the environment today. I hope you did. If you didn't, there's still time. Help the environment. That plastic thing you were going to buy, don't buy it. You don't need it.
No
you don't
plastics.
Need it. It's bad. Okay, that's going to be the end. Goodbye.
Bye.